Okay, so just making sort of a follow-up video to the Barcode's recent video about the mining, the whole gathering mining cap. I watched the video and I sort of agree with what he said, especially when it comes to progressing through the game. It doesn't even only affect free-to-play players, in my opinion. I'm someone who actually purchased the Summoner Pass, means that I can gather for the maximum amount of 1,000 per day. And even then, I found that this cap really hinders my gameplay a lot. At first, I thought that maybe this whole order cap and the amount of levels, account levels you need in order to increase the daily cap would prevent the bots from gathering a lot and manipulating the exchange market. Now that I'm seeing that account levels isn't the hardest to get, even for a new player and even for a bot account. You can easily reach like level 30, level 40 within a few hours of gameplay. So I don't think the account level may be enough to stop that. And I fully get that the developers may want to encourage people to buy the Summoner Pass. I feel like it is a great incentive to give extra order mining to pass holders as sort of a benefit, but overall limiting the amount of items you can gather manually is a very, very bad idea. And yeah, so just today I was actually doing some of my daily activities, so doing my daily quests, a daily guild quest, and just today I already ran into two scenarios where this was super annoying to do. So first of all, I was crafting some of the items. I'm currently working on my master profession. I'm a few items away. I have like 15 of each of these items. I have a few more gathering items that I have to finish right here. So I was crafting some of the food. I believe it was like this one. And when I was gathering, or rather crafting, I noticed that I had like 78 of these items and I needed 80. So my first idea was to actually just gather a few remaining items and be done with it. So I activate the quest, or not the quest, but I just find the, what's it called, the area where you can gather these items. And to my surprise, I am not able to gather them because I have already mined the whole limit on order in the morning. When I woke up, I just launched the auto mining function and completely forgot about it. It was done in like less than an hour. So yeah, then to my surprise, I am not able to gather anymore, and I'm forced to wait until tomorrow in order to complete the two remaining dishes that I had to do. This already aggravated me so much because I would be fine in doing it manually. I just needed like 10 items to gather manually and I would be done with it. No, instead I have to wait until tomorrow, and what I have to do tomorrow is to not, whenever I wake up, I usually like to launch it then. Instead of that, and now I have to manually go gather those 10 items, and then I have to put up the auto mining feature to basically, while I get ready up and stuff like that for it to mine. This already hinders the daily routine that I have with the missions in this game. Now I figured, okay, whatever, annoying, but I could deal with it perhaps. Then the next thing I do is actually go to do the guild quests. I've already done mine today, but this actually happened yesterday when I was doing them. And as you can see, most of the quests that you get will actually be either to defeat certain monsters or do an expedition for a certain power. But you have quite a few requests that actually require you to either craft or gather items. So, for example, you can see items like processing, where you have to craft certain items. There are also quests where you have to do cooking, where you have to craft a certain food. And unfortunately, we do not have any right here, but there are also quests where you have to mine or gather certain materials in a certain region. So there were no quests that I needed from here, and I saw one with a decent reward, especially now that the rewards of these quests have been upgraded. You can get like spires for ascension tokens, you can get repeat request, those orders. So I was like, oh, awesome reward, I want to do that quest. And that quest required me to mine 9 materials in the new Contana region. It was like, I don't know what that new material is called, like whatever, right? Let me see. Let me quickly find it. I think in processing, yeah, this guy. So I needed this thing basically. I needed 9 of it. And I figured, oh, easy. I go mine the 9 materials and I'll be done with the quest. I'll get the new items. It will help my progress a lot since I don't get a lot of that item. To my surprise, again, I go to the mine. I completely forgot about the limit. And when I try to gather, it says, oh, sorry, you hit the maximum daily limit. Come back tomorrow. I'm like, why? Why? Now, not only does it, first of all, interfere with the exchange market, second of all, it hinders your progress when you're trying to craft a lot of items, because if you've seen the barcodes video, you know how much it costs to craft some of these upgrade items, especially as a free-to-play player who doesn't have a summoner pass. Third of all, now I'm locked behind completing the guild quest because I simply cannot mine them. Of course, I had to be forced to pretty much go to the exchange market, search for that item. The item, since the region is new, was of course super overpriced, like 20 of those ores was like 5k or something. And that's pretty much the only way I can do the quest. So I'm like, why? Why was this change included? I don't get it. So yeah, I'm not only gonna rant about this, but I'm also gonna give some propositions on how this could be fixed, having both the players as well as the developers in mind. So first of all, one suggestion you could do is to actually have some of the items be locked. So of course, I'm referring to having the order mining be kept as it is. But for manual mining, you can do it above the limit without any limit at all. As long as you have the pickaxes or the gloves, you can do it infinitely. And the way you can do it is we already have the system implemented, so I don't see why something similar could be applied to items as well. It could be a bit annoying to manage, but the system is there, so it would work. As you know, we have these different crystals, so the bottom ones are the locked crystals, and with the locked crystals, you actually cannot purchase these Rahild, I guess they're called. You cannot purchase Rahild with the locked crystals, and the same applies to the Rahild. So you have locked Rahild, which are limited when exchanging them for other items. So since we have this system already in place, why can't we do something similar with the items? For the first 200 when you're free to play and 1000 for when you have the summoner pass or whatever the limit is according to your level, why not do that? For the first 200, the items you get, so the raw items that you actually gather, so for example these garnitors, for the first 200, let's say, if you do not have the summoner pass, these could be auto gathered, they could be sold on the market, and everything would be the same as it is right now. For the future ones, on that day, for example, if you gather the 201 and any further materials that day, you could get locked ones, which can only be used for crafting items on your account. And the items you craft will also be locked, meaning that if you have sold all of your garnets, the future ones you mine manually could only be used for various upgrades on your account. This way, you're allowing people to progress through the game, and you're also not messing with the exchange market and not giving the ability to bots to actually manipulate the market too much by auto mining infinitely or even manually mining infinitely, because after a certain amount, they will be capped and they will not be able to sell them any longer. And the second way you could do it is very similar, but implement something like a weight system. So, for example, let's say you can auto mine 200 items per day, right? Each item would have one weight on it. So, for example, in total, you can gather 200 weight worth of items. You could add additional weight based on each exploration, because exploration is another amazing way to get material. So let's say for each exploration you do, you add additional 100 weight, right? And that weight is the amount of items you could sell in the exchange market. Let's say you can make it daily, you can make it weekly, but just simply put a total weight cap on the item and limit it that way. This means that first of all, it will be way less confusing than having those locked and unlocked items. And let's say if we wanted to make money, we can still do it by selling any item at any time of the day or any time of the week, for example. I know you like making weekly stuff, so this could be a suggestion as well. Let's say this item has one waste since it can be acquired from one mining action. Now, for every craftable item, let's say since this item takes 3 ores to craft, you could make the weight of this item to be 3, meaning that if you are able to sell, for example, 500 weight daily, you would only be able to sell either 500 of these or what is it, like 166 of these, for example. That way, you're limiting the bot action when it comes to selling, but you're still allowing people to progress through the game. And on top of that, since I know this is sort of the idea that you're going for, most likely, I'm going to assume that, limiting the amount that free-to-play players can acquire from the exchange market, meaning that you cannot exchange crystals infinitely. I mean, it was a good feature. I don't know how many people actually used it, but I know that I've done some in the past. I've stopped doing it now because I managed to get enough crystals for most of my daily actions. But it's sort of a way you can implement it, and you could implement it for most of the items in the profession tree. So for example, if you go to even the more difficult entries, let's say to craft this item, you need these 2, right? So to craft a platinum ingot, you need 3 platinum ores. So let's say one platinum ore is 1 weight, since you can gather it with 1 action. Then the ingot would have 3 weight on that item. Now for this item, if we go right here, the branch it requires, it's an RNG drop, but let's call it a 1 weight item, meaning that this item would have 3 weight as well, meaning that to craft this item, you need 1 ingot, you need 1 log, and both of these items have 3 weight. This means that the crafted item would have a total weight of 6. And if you implement, let's say, a 500 weight daily selling limit, you would be able to sell like, what, 83 of this item or something similar like that. So you could have a system like that, which still limits the amount of items you can sell without interfering with the people's progress, whether they are free to play, pay to win, whales, whatever. So yeah, this is just my thoughts on this system and sort of a follow-up video to the one made earlier. And yeah, I don't know. This change it's a change in the right direction, but it's sort of twisted away from the correct one and made the gameplay not only easier, but also more annoying. And the fact that I cannot manually gather this when I want to do it for a quest, for example, really aggravates me when trying to just casually finish daily tasks. So yeah, I don't know, these are my thoughts on it. Yeah, I know COM2US, whether COM2US will see it or not, whatever, I guess, I don't know. I'm just here to sort of spark a discussion, maybe give my thoughts on it. Just know that people are being heard, and I saw a lot of people in my comments, especially mentioning that this change sort of interferes gameplay for free-to-play, and in some cases even pay-to-play players. And yeah, I don't know, I hope this changes, and I'll see you soon.